over a number of them as well. And when you start looking, the fact that Oxygen play against SSG today, that takes a point from one of them. It gets very difficult for all of those teams to achieve enough points. So I think those on 3 points and above are pretty secure, if not actually confirmed secure at this point in terms of not going home at least. But there is an awful lot that can go on in the bottom 5 teams. We've got 2 points across most of them, and it's just going to go absolutely wild on Consulate Des. If Giants get a win here, then all bets are off. Anything can happen.
Well, there's a Thatcher band coming out, which normally you'll see teams utilise in very, very rapid style to get the garage door opened up. Some other teams, though, have lent towards saying, forget about the Thatcher altogether. We'll just roll some frag grenades through the hole. We'll take a switch turn and layer it in behind flashbangs, for example, just to let us go running into the map, or at least open that door up inside 45, 50 seconds, and then it's all about getting the vertical control. It's thinking about the style of execute that you want to play. That at least covers off the downstairs. And on the top floor in CEO and console, there's a little bit of hate towards that side. And a lot of teams saying, oh, why do teams still want to play there? Like, it's terrible. But some teams, they tend to do quite well on here. And I'm between these two teams, particularly excited to see how these sites shape up for either of them. Valkyrie going to be the final ban, so hopefully nothing too wild in the way of jump outs, given there's a Nomad available and the Valkyrie has been taken away.
No, that's it. You'd expect it to be reasonably played inside of the map at this point. I mean, nothing too unusual on the bans there. Pretty much as to be expected. Falls is going to be bringing along that Thermite, which is a trend that continues after his recent alteration, giving him the smoke grenades back. We've seen it pretty much flip reverse, the pick rate between him and Ace, now being brought along again as the primary hard breach, which I like Ace, Des, but I've got to say I'm a bit of an old school Thermite man, as you know, so I'm happy to see my boy getting a bit more playtime.
Yeah, Ace is just that new want to be cool kid on the block, isn't he?
Exactly.
Just wants to be cool, tries his best, you know, walks in here, acting like he's a big shot.
And Thermite says, not yet.
I mean, I was looking at you the whole time I was saying that, in case you missed it. The woes of sharing a name. They all remember the jokes when he first came out of, imagine if an ace gets an ace while being casted by ace. It was seemingly non-stop. Or even better, if you would be the one to get the ace with the ace. But we know how that tends to go down. Support players.
I think we're dreaming now, Des.
You walk in, you press F, mate, that's about it. Walk into the odd frost mat as you do feel like a magnet towards those. It's pretty dangerous. Either way, let's talk about the setup coming out of Giants. They have the Aruni, those laser gates on side ace, as well as the Clash. The Clash has been making an appearance at quite a few teams so far in the competition, particularly when things are looking a little bit dicey and you just want to slow the other side down. And the big story of Stage 1 across all regions has been this new meta does enable attackers to be a little more aggressive. Rounds are a bit more pacey. We're not playing chess anymore, sat behind shields, for example. So for teams that are maybe struggling to keep up with the pace from time to time, or just want to try and waste as much time as they can, they're looking to bring things like the Clash to slow that down.
Zera looking to get aggressive early on in the first 15 seconds with a spawn peak there, but will have no joy as MIBR, they've come in from elsewhere and won't expose themselves to his crosshairs just yet, but the drones are racing in towards that top floor site. They're trying to gather all the information that they can very, very quickly. They've got a man up on the spiral rappel, which can be dangerous for anybody trying to rotate through or around long desks, so defenders definitely need to be aware of that. Read up now up on the rooftop playing from that skylight, and this is quick progress. There's the diffuser's going down here. Falls has gone straight in. The opportunity's presented itself. Luna Metal goes in to make the challenge, but it doesn't matter. The diffuser goes down. That's huge though. Luna Metal. There's a team kill in there. Luna Metal clears for Leapox off the rappel, and it's too little too late from MIBR. They've been caught out on their own rush.
What is that? That's absolute chaos for round number 1. A fast execute that was really well played. We'll give them that. Luna could do nothing but stare sadly through the glass as that diffuser was going down because there was a man on the window. But as soon as it's down, Luna drops the shield, pulls the gun out. There's a team kill in the mix, like you say. It all falls to absolute shambles for MIBR. And with those only being the 2 players that were in the key spots to watch the diffuser, there was no coming back from there. Look at it. It's absolute madness.
It's heartbreaking to watch it back for MIBR. The first shot as the Clash flips onto the secondary. The shots come in from Felipox. He knows what's happening, but his teammate is in the way and he cuts him down. But what a shot from Luna Metal to take the man off the rappel. Those are never easy to find, let alone with that Clash secondary. So great play and just Take a bow, Luna Metal. That was just such composure under pressure in round number 1, Des. And if that is how this day is going to go, if that's the indicator, this is just light blue touch paper and stand well back. There are going to be fireworks.
Day 4, when this group last played, was no different. I think I said at the end of the day, you can chalk this up as one of the craziest days of international play we are ever going to see in Siege. When you've got the world champions and the runner-ups, NIP and SSG that is, being beaten by Parabellum, a team that everyone came into the tournament saying wouldn't be able to achieve anything spectacular. They're going to get knocked out in groups. There was no real any hope for them in playoffs. As a result of those 2 games, they come into today top of the table. This group has already shown us the explosiveness that it can contain. And as you say, I hope we get more rounds just like that one. Here's a bit of an old throwback for you. The mirror window coming up on the door here to play for the denial. Now, mainly looking here to, I think, for the information, maybe look for a C4 from the top 4 if someone's feeling a little bit chaotic, looking mainly towards Speakeasy or Luna Metal in that case. Imagine on Raps' side, his goal is going to be to get up there and prevent that sort of thing from happening.
I can already hear Demo on the other stream as well, Des. I think we've got a day of absolutely killer action that is kicking off here in both of the first games. But this one is now in round number 2. Giants have taken an unusual first round where MIBR dashed straight into that top floor site, threw the diffuser down on the ground, but then chaos ensued and Giants, they came out the victors. Now they're going to be downstairs in Garage for round number 2, looking to defend successfully again, and this time a little bit slower from MIBR, Des. I think they've learnt that that chaos did not suit them last time around. Sarah, he's taken a little bit of damage on the Maestro. He's just going to dip back onto the spiral staircase. General is fairly commonplace for the Maestro to be playing. He's got the long angles then in from pipes or security if he chooses to push deeper into sight. It's going to be Jordan to open things up. That's going to take the ace down inside a bathroom, and things might just be going from bad to worse for MIBR here, Des.
Interesting, because normally you'd hold on to bathroom as the defenders, but inside the first, minute and 15 seconds, they'd already completely abandoned it, and did want to give a shout out to Giants at about the 1 minute 50 mark remaining. They killed 6 drones. So these 2 or 3 players that are playing out and around the map, just looking to cut down on the information game from MIBR, really starve them of any kind of knowledge of what's going on. And whilst MIBR can draw a few assumptions, i.e. there's going to be a player inside a cafe, there'll be one inside a security office, there's one maybe lurking a little further back towards Visa Stairs, and potentially one behind the white van, you can never be certain. And certain they are not, because as you saw just a second ago, Hysterics, who has been popping off all tournament long, is off on the roam. He may be a little bit late on this one. I think he doesn't fully understand where the attackers may be, but that impact nade, it's like when someone just throws a rock halfway across the room and you all look around and goes, well, it wasn't me. No one knows where he is right now.
The battle lines are drawn here, Des. We've got Giants forced all the way back to cafeteria and the little pipes corridor. We've got MIBR setting up on the breach and yellow stairs. They're trying to rain down shots from Piano, but have not yet managed to find a man. Giants doing a very good job of making themselves elusive. Now then, there could be a big flank underway, but Lukid and Raps, they managed to get 3, count 4 as Philippox gets in on the action. Bowles is planting. The attempt was there, Des, the attempt to stop that diffuser going on the ground, but that was a nice late round collapse from MIBR coming in. They'd just managed to position their pieces in such a way that as soon as the misstep was made from Giants, kill after kill rained in.
I think Hysterics was so bloodthirsty for what was going on inside a Piano, knowing there were 2 players in there on the vertical. He didn't consider the man who was on yellow stairs. It was Philippox, finds that kill, instantly charges downstairs to get the final one onto Luna Metal. So although we spent much of that round wondering when's Hysterics going to strike, when is he going to end their world, it never really came to be. Great flank watch coming out from MIBR, making sure they were focusing on the objective, but still always had players every few seconds just checking those flanks in case Hysterics was making an appearance. Really, really good round from them, and that's much more convincing, I think, more of what we expected to see out of MIBR.
Certainly is, and that really does make this one game on. We're going to be heading to Archives and Tellers for our 3rd round site. Now, I would expect to see the Giants defending this largely from beneath. They've got the pulse, which is a good start. Also, just we've got 2 nitros in hand, Des, so we've got an opportunity there for some vertical denial as well. Usually speaking, they're going to try to defend from the area that you see Lunametal in there. He's underneath the teller's sight, and he's going to try to get vertical shots or pressure from that nitro onto the plant spot. Thank you very much, medics. So the attackers, they're going to try to come in from above, get control of admin, and push down. We've seen that tried in a number of different ways throughout SI. Sometimes it's a case of get yourself into console and yellow stairs and move across the top floor. Sometimes it's go straight into admin and move across from that side to get control before moving down to visas. But what we can see is that Lunametal is now, he's got himself up onto the top floor and he's just put in some utility up there to try and help keep hold of admin. He's going to dip, he'll go back downstairs, but that utility will be used by somebody else, likely, if I had to make a guess, usually the Jaeger of Jord.
Just looking for a second as well. I know he's involved in the team history, by the way. I think he's their analyst, I forget. But him tweeting there saying, I went for a bit of food, came and sat back down, it was a 5v3 with a defuse. What the bloody hell is going on? Yeah. Welcome to your own team's game. You've seen this kind of madness. You've watched these boys all stage long, if not for a couple of years now. You know what it can get like at times. And hopefully it settles down for both teams. That first round was a fun one, but having only seen one round, we've got more to see from both sides just yet. I think with this heavy setup, this is the sort of thing that we saw out of Train Hard when I think about it against Na'Vi on Chalet. Bringing along the castle, along with the Rooney, and then other things like the Pulse, just some information gathering, Valkyrie, those sort of things, stepping alongside it at the same time. All focused on trying to draw the attention of MIBR, waste a bit of time, force them to burn utility in, dare I say, undesirable areas. At the minute, they're trying to ignore much of what's going on, focus entirely on the top floor. Luke is in trying to go for the contest, and he finds Jordan's head. Second one's off to the side, and it's Hysterics to find one back, and he's now going to move. Takes the second, it's a double onto Raps, going hysterical in this round. Can he find number 3? No, he can't. Reduct reduces him to ash. Out the round he goes. 3 versus 2 for MIBR, and with a minute and 30 seconds to play, Tim, that's plenty of time to make this happen.
This game is progressing at absolutely breakneck speed at the minute. It was very important double kill from Hysterics there just to stop the onslaught that was coming through from MIBR, but Reduct, he's not interested, finds himself a third on the round, making a 4K. Des, he closes out the round for MIBR. They didn't even get near to put in a plant down that time around. It was all about aggression onto that top floor. I think it actually came through meeting Des off balcony, if I had to make a guess. They came across the top of Visa stairs, straight in through that rotation hole, trying to play into behind where Hysterics was, behind that mirror. Lukid had some success with an opener, and then it was all down to Reduct from there.
It was all down to Reduct. 4K in the round. Tells you what you need to really know. It's quite mad now I think about it, and someone commented on this on Twitter yesterday. They said, it's crazy how many rounds have gone down to multi-kills coming out of teams. I don't know if it's just a momentum swing on LAN, a player starts going nuts knowing there's no ping and they're really kind of going for it in the key moments. But some games you've had more rounds where there are multi-kills than there are no multi-kills. It's been insane how many players have been going absolutely insane. And it's not just 1 or 2 players. It's not like it's just Shaiko or just Citizen or just Pino, whatever, going absolutely crazy. It's all the different players on the team getting a little bite of the cherry ace.
Oh, everybody's getting in on the action. A number of times we've commented as where we've come in and we've had 3 or 4 rounds to start with multi-kills in every round, all from unique players, not doubling up on them at all. So it's been nice to see such a spread of skill and ability. Is exactly what we expect here at the Six Invitational, and we've seen it from every region, Des. That's been the other nice thing. We've had APAC coming in here showing just how good they are. LATAM as well. We've had sort of the lesser known teams like Furia, like, Giant, Cyclops, all coming in and really displaying exactly what they can do alongside of those big names that we expect performances from, like your TSMs and your Space Station Gaming. So we'll see as this one progresses. Right now, Giants, they're on the back foot a little bit, Des. I feel like they're struggling to deal with the aggression that MIBR are bringing. They just can't quite harness that at the minute.
I'm looking over to the stream for a quick second as well to see how it's going between SSG and Makers, and SSG are currently down there as well. So there's your spicy start for the day. Imagine if it's SSG coming into the final game of the day. NIP against SSG, a rematch of the finals from last year, cast by Kix and Intero. It's going to be dreamy. And imagine if it's SSG going home after that game. Oh, pain. That's why we need to get that crucial win against Makers. We'll see how that one progresses, no doubt, and keep you guys updated. Anyway, focusing back on this game, the Rooney back in play once again, the Clash stepping in. We spoke about these already in the previous rounds. And I've spoken about this seemingly every single game it's been present so far. The Jackal coming in for Reduct. Lots of teams are leaning on that at the moment, I think, to deal with the more aggressive nature that we're seeing here at SI, where players are finding flanks and getting 2 or 3 kills in a round. Being able to track down those who are off running around the map causing chaos, best thing you can do, bring the Jackal, the Lion, the Decabi. A few teams have made good use of the Decabi, admittedly, throughout the competition. Lion, a little bit less so, which is odd given how much we saw it in Stage 1 in EU and APAC.
Reduct on the roam clear there. Hysterics just getting spotted out by a drone, surely, so he's going to have to be very careful about his position. He's being challenged, as we can see, immediately by Reduct there. He's trying to take a gunfight. Reduct dips away on the Jackal for the time being, doesn't want too much of that action, but all he's done, Des, is rotate around. He's looking to pressure him from the top of Spiral instead. Now, I don't think Hysterics is aware of that. I'm not sure exactly where he's escaped himself to, but he needs to be very careful not to use that same staircase, because if he does, he is going to be dying. Now, he has headed towards the Visa stairs, and this is a little bit of a concern for me for MIBR, Des. I'm wondering just how much of a handle they've got on Hysterics' location here. He's still being chased down. He finds a kill onto Raps. Philippox gets one at the same time, but they are struggling to deal with that Roma. They need to clear the mute out. Lukid, he gets the kill onto Jordan. Hysterics is now making his way up them spiral stairs, and he will ultimately be closed down. Reduct, Lukid, find one apiece, and it's all going in MIBR's direction with 30 seconds left.
Looks a little bit, it would have sinned for Leapox, but unfortunately not quite got the presence of mind in that instance to know that he would have been there. Of course, how would you when he's holding that upside down vertical rappel? And it feels like for Hysterics, again, always looking to make those high impact plays, but so far MIBR have absolutely got his number.
Really do, and it was a tough one. It was a tough one for Hysterics there. He was roaming well and he was keeping himself sort of off the radar, especially when he's being chased down by a Jackal. You know, we didn't see him getting pinged out by that Inox scanner or anything, but ultimately I think it felt like he ran out of ideas a little bit, and it was like, right, I'm just going to go back to the spiral stairs, which was my sort of original base. And I think maybe he hoped that he would catch Reduct out at that point and come up behind him, but Reduct was having absolutely none of it, and he was completely ready for that rotation and shut the man down. Whereas on Consulate, there are a number of ways of getting yourself back upstairs. There's the Visa stairs, the yellow stairs, there's lots of options, and it was a bit of a gamble from Hysterics to take the one that he'd already been seen playing on and around, and he was shut down for it. But MIBR, they're looking strong, Des. Let's not just focus on the Giants here. The LATAM players of MIBR coming in with a fantastic start. 3-1 on the board, so much so that Giants have taken a tactical timeout. They feel that they just need that pause to have a chat and try to level things off here.
We said this quite a few times over the last week as well, is that you get down to about 3 rounds in a row being lost in the first half. Chances are you're going to make good use of that tactical timeout, because it's clear at that stage you've lost the, dare I say, first quarter of the game. Chances are you're going to see a repeat of the same 3 sites, and although, yes, they got that one first round, it was more down to a bit of mental play at the very start. A team kill definitely doing Giants a favour. Otherwise, you look at it, they haven't won a round here decisively or through any means of their own, so no doubt that conversation needs to be in here to say, something's got to change, boys. What is it?
Looking at the scoreboard then, there's a number of players on the side of Giants that are getting involved. As Hysterics on 3, Jordan on 2. There's kills almost across the board. I think there's only one player without at the minute, and that's Speakeasy. So they're certainly not sort of shying away from the gunfights, but if you look at the numbers on the side of MIBR, they just pale by comparison. We've got 5 from Redux, we've got 4 and 4 on Lukid, and for Leapox, they are really going strong at the minute, and the Giants are just struggling to shut them down. And to be honest, I can't see it getting much better when the sides change and you get MIBR onto the defence here on Consulate, because it is a map that LATAM tends to play quite aggressively, and they'll have a number of roamers out there, and if we're seeing players like Lukid, Philippox, Redux all finding their feet, put them out on the roam, they're going to make an absolute nuisance of himself. It's going to be a nightmare to deal with.
And that's just it. This is only the first half, let's not forget, on the attacking side for MIBR, and many do lean towards Consulate being that attacker side of map, but doesn't mean that between 2 individual teams there won't be a little bit of difference. Again, going to see this kind of halfway up the wall mirror window coming in, normally at crouch height. Just to let you know what's going on. Are they pushing into here? Are they opening anything up? Yes or no? What's the crack? It also enables a bit of tricking to come out from the Kaid as well, now that he's positioned by the wall. A bit of a change to last time round, much more effective than just having a Maestro sat there. That much is for sure.
Sarah's going to be the one for the time being to play up against that mirror window and just feed the information back in. Hysterics looking to get aggressive here, and I think that's maybe what the Giants need, just sort of play, meet fire with fire and try and get in there and get right up in the faces of MIBR, but the difficulty they'll find with that is the fact that MIBR are just winning the gunfights at the minute. That is what it is largely coming down to. When we see those challenges, it is MIBR coming out on top of them. Now, Jordan, he's out on the roam as well. So again, quite a heavy roam presence from Giants here. We've got Speakeasy playing up at the top of the Visa stairs. Hysterics in Tellers. We've got Jordan, I think, has just moved up to the top floor. One is going to be pinged out by the Jackal, and that will force Hysterics back down to the bottom floor now. But it doesn't take account of Jordan, who last seen was up on the top floor.
I mean, Jordan, you probably wouldn't want roaming all that much given his playing on
back
smoke.
down.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't want to see him on the roam for too long given you're on that smoke. It's so painful to die early on when you still got all 3 smokes in back pocket. You want those for that execute, especially on a site like this when the garage execute becomes the big focus. And about that 1 minute 30 mark, though, we're going to start seeing reconstruction works coming in from Luke, getting busy inside of Piano. And Reduct threatening off towards the other side. You can see how there's a bit of a split coming on. I think they're a little bit late there to get that one electrified. Indeed, they shall be. Wall is opened up at least on the one side, and Reduct finds the opening kill. He has had Hysterics' number time and time again in this game.
It's like that's his job. He's just been given Hysterics to sort of man mark in a football term, just stay on him and get those kills, and that is exactly what he's done so far. The Vigil going out of things once again. Reduct looking at the potential for a rear drop here, Des, and that could be very dangerous if the Giants are unaware of it. He could well get himself a cheap kill or two before they realise that the pressure is coming in from the east side as well as the west. But for now, the breach is open. Falls is going to open the second panel of the garage. I think that's what he's doing at the moment. There we go, and he will now have full access to get in there. There is a Toxic Babe deployed, but it won't be successful in stopping this push coming in. Out comes another, but in the complete wrong location. Des Raps is on the cover, important player here, shoots out the Nitro, perfect cover, but no, it actually made it through. Was that a second Nitro coming in from Luna Metal? It was. The Nitro from the Kai Des was shot out, but Giants followed it up with another. But once again, it all comes down to the frags. Luke had finding him 2 at the end. Oh, Des, that's so hard to take for Giants. What a play from them. So close, and doubling up on the C4 was beautifully done.
Oh, the kill that Luna got from between the black car and the white van as well. I thought, oh, surely here, power position, he's found the first kill. He can maybe find the second onto the guy on yellow, but can't quite swing and collect both. But again, for MIBR, excellent control of the roam. Hysterics shut down nice and early. They couldn't follow him for a really aggressive push, I don't think, because he'd reinforced up the doorway. They tried to push down there. Everyone would have heard that breaking down. They'd have known what was going on. So I think it was Speakeasy facing off against Reduct out to the east while his play came into the west. MIBR doing so with enough time left on the clock to make it start to come off. The second C4 was required to shut things down, and if that hadn't have connected, maybe we're having a different conversation right now, and it's more looking like 3-2 to MIBR, but instead we're at that 4-1. Giants, again, I go back to round number 1 and say it was more of a freak round than it was so much a well-played round by either side. A team kill from MIBR definitely doing a lot to help them. So on paper, if you pretend round 1 didn't really happen, this has been 4 dominant rounds by MIBR, and Giants, they've had their tactical timeout. They've had the conversation. They said, right, things need to change. What's got to change, boys? Because right now, whatever you're changing, sadly, isn't working.
I'd agree, and I think coming into today, you could have looked at MIBR. I think they were down there second from bottom, third from bottom. They were certainly in the mix, and for me, they were the big anomaly. They were down in 7th place, second from bottom. They were the big anomaly, and I think it's down to partially the number of games they've played, having only played 4 rather than the 5 of some others. But also, I think the teams that they've faced up against, and coming in here, they are showing their class so far today. Real dominance in this matchup on Consulate, and this will bump them straight up the table towards those mid-table spots, and will all but secure their position in the playoffs. Whereas Giants, it starts to put them on a slippery slope, Des. They need to start looking towards those oxygen results particularly. They need other teams to be picking up wins there to prevent them gaining too many points. They'll also be watching the SSG Makers game closely as well, because Makers, the other team, on 2 points.
Yellow Stairs hold coming out here from Giants. Very used to seeing this one, especially during the dominant meta of the Jaeger and the Wamai. Stick a guy at the top here, have all those gadgets scattered around, and then it becomes a big core. It's not trying to do a ballet dance as a group really for the attackers, where you have to make sure all that utility is perfectly lined up, that you are in sync, that you are communicating and aware of what is going on. you look towards things like the frag singing in whilst being weaved in between some flashes. Here they haven't got flashes, but they have got smokes, and Jordan steps out for the shot onto Reduct, takes him down. That's the top fragger on the side of MIBR removed from the field, and he has been a critical piece in keeping Asterix under control in these rounds.
I always love those reverse kills onto the Skylight stage.
Yeah.
You cannot overstate the difficulty of making those shots. It's not just about hitting your shot onto what is a very small target on your screen, just usually the top of somebody's head poking up above the Skylight there, but it's also about who you're trying to do it against, and in this case Reduct, he's been hitting his shots. You get a fraction of a heartbeat to hit that shot, otherwise you are dead, and Jordan has absolutely nailed it there. Fantastic shot from him. So that starts off well for the Giants here on this last defensive hold of the top floor, but they need to keep that numbers advantage, Des. It's something that they've not done so far. They've let those kills just slip away from them. They've lost out on attrition on the man count as the rounds have gone on, and more damage done there. This time to Luki, dropping him away from that connector rappel. He's having absolutely no more of that, but falls. He opens up the wall into sight from yellow stairs, and this is going to see a lot of pressure coming in now onto the Giants.
Finally gets shot off by the long angle from Ysera. I was going to say, being able to repel upside down like that and not be challenged is insane. I was somewhat surprised that Giants finding the opening kill and having all the utility still on their side. No frags have been shown, chose to leave the top of yellow stairs and concede it to MIBR. You were giving them a lot of ground, but it doesn't matter so much when you're finding kills for Leapox being pinned down somewhat by the clash. They know it's going to turn into a 1v1 here unless he can get some assistance. Steps into the longer angle, can't win the gunshot. The 180 out of Luna gets styled on Kid. Lukin in the 1 versus 5. I don't think he'll be able to do much here. Jordan with the final kill. Giants finally getting something on the board that looks convincing, but it took 6 rounds, Ace.
I cannot wait to see that 180 from Luna on the replays. I'm certain it's going to be there at some point. Absolute masterclass, or should I say masterclash, Des. That is exactly how you use that operator to win those difficult gunfights. Just flip 180, shield onto the back whilst you bring out the secondary. Absolutely beautiful. We've just got a nice view of that kill from Jordan as well. I think here we go as Leapox is trying to challenge. Look at that, it's beautiful because you leave yourself so exposed if you go to the secondary. But then if you just can turn at the right point, there's a real skill to doing it so that your shield just covers as your head becomes visible. Wonderful, wonderful play. And I'm sure we're going to see that another couple of times before we're done. And I hope we do, because it was wonderful.
Another quick rehost here as there is a 6th pick issue to be resolved, but that's a nice way to give us a pause, I think, in the middle of the game. We are about to switch over, of course, to the other side of things where Giants will go onto the attack, MIBR to the defense. And what I always hate and I always say about scorelines is you look at this game and go 4-2 at the half. Okay, cool, it's expected. It was a very, air quote, standard game. I think that half has been anything but standard. It's the qualitative information that you miss when you just see a scoreline of how it's actually played out, because Giants, that was a real rocky half for them, bar that last round that was pretty good. They played quite defensive. They got that initial aggressive kill from Jordan onto Reduct and then back to Wade saying, oh, we've got the lion's share of the prize. He had brought down the top frag at MIBR. Let's get back to site, play a bit more safely behind the clash, and let's not worry about going too aggressive. But it was only those defenses on the top floor with the clash that worked in their favour. Need to see a lot out of them in this second half if it's really going to swing in their way, though.
Certainly do, and it's worth mentioning, I think, as well, Des, that we do have a game going on over on the A stream, which could also be very decisive about the Giants' sort of prospects of moving forward in the tournament. It's Makers versus SSG. I've given you a long intro to drop in the score on you here, so if you were planning on watching that game later, obviously you're going to stick with Des and I on the B stream for now, but do close your ears for a second if you don't want to know what's going on at the minute. Makers currently 3-2, Des, up against SSG, and that does not bode well for Giants.
Or 2, maybe.
If Makers can take that result against SSG, which would be somewhat unexpected, it's fair to say, if they were able to, but they've been full of surprises so far, so why not? You know, if Makers can take that, it really does pile the pressure onto Giants then. They sort of start moving into a one-on-one scrap with Oxygen.
Again, just reading out the narrative to myself in my head of SSG, current world champions, have lost to Parabellum and are currently 4-2 down against Makers. That's not a line of thought I'd say coming into this competition, Ace. There's been so many upsets and surprises. I've loved it every single step of the way. But as our game loads back in, we've got a game to finish here on the Bravo stream. Cafeteria and Garage going to be where MIBR kick off their defense. And we'll see. You know what this game's done to me? I've just realized. I say it every time. Garage. I always say garage normally.
Well, it all started for me with, I've got some friends on the NA side of things.
They say garage, right?
Yeah, and they say garage. And quite often I was playing, just through my own time playing, I was playing with the guys from over there, and, we'd either be EU or NA, whichever way, and we'd have a little squad going. And you do just get into that habit, because quite often I was the only British guy there, and so you just sort of fit in and garage. But it really sticks.
I hate it, because my missus is from quite I don't want to say a posh area of the country, the posh-sounding area of the country. So she's always like, oh, but it's garage and grass and bar.
She's not from near where
we are.
She's not from my neck of the woods.
Bath and grass and castle, and she's like, no, it's castle. I'm like, sorry, where's the R in that word? There isn't an R in castle. Let's not go slotting things where they don't belong. But here I am every single broadcast saying garage. It kills me.
So it is an interesting one, some of the words that you pick up when you're playing Siege, especially if you're in those mixed groups.
Let's get in the garage. That's what we're doing.
Let's get in the garage, and that is exactly where we are. Round 7, first defensive round for MIBR, and as I suggested, Des, we need to watch those roamers. Reduct and Polypox, they're out there. Malusi, Mozzie, they need to be dealt with by Giants, because if they don't, they're going to hit them fast, they're going to hit them hard, and they're going to wish that they'd paid more attention to them.
Absolutely shall. The number of C4s is the big one to watch out for, I think. I'm always curious when I see this number of impacts being brought along as well, whether it's just for rotations on the roam, which is often what you assume a Vigil's going to be doing, or whether it's more towards the Nile. Oh, Jordan almost already losing his life there through the drone hole. Don't want to say it's a rookie mistake, Tim, but it's a rookie mistake. Getting blasted through a drone hole, it's one that you think at this sort of level you'd be able to get away with.
It's certainly not. You've got to be careful. You've got to know every single angle, and it just shows the margins that we're dealing with inside of Siege Des. It can be pixels in either direction, and just forgetting that drone hole is there, or that your toes can be seen, and can have deadly consequences. Jordan almost finding out now. The nades come in there from Reduct, impact nading, just opening up above, and it's an interesting angle, because you can see what's happening here. Falls, he's looking up through there. It allows him to challenge from below up into Piano, but more importantly, it's somewhat of a rarity here on Consulate. It's not something that we really see on many other maps, Des, and that is that you're able to defend from 2 floors above. You can open the hatch, open the floor in Piano, and where a challenge may be attempted into Piano, you're not there.
You swear he just saw the man? I swear he just saw him outside there. The little black shoulder was exposed. I swear it was, but I'm not sure if he quite clocked it. But yep, you've got this 3-floor setup on the go. It's not quite what they'd hope, I think, in terms of actual depth. They've only got a small slither to see, so they need to really go pushing into the left side of the breach for it to work, and that's exactly where Luna is starting to gear up. I wonder at what point Reduct bails. If he'd had a C4 for this top floor, that would have been something magical to start throwing those out and seeing what he could catch.
Coming into the final minute then, MIBR, they've been pushed pretty much back into cafeteria and security now that the garage breach has been opened up. So we enter this final stage of the defence here, and it's all about the denial. We will see almost certainly a plant opportunity, Des, but I am very worried for Giants here about Reduct up on that top floor. We need to keep an eye on him, because he could be absolutely pivotal inside of this round. Time is ticking away. The sand is running through the hourglass. We're coming into the final 30 seconds here, and when that plant attempt comes in, if the diffuser gets dropped cold on the ground by a Reduct from above, it could be very difficult for the Giants to collect it and have a second opportunity. Now Lukin, he finds an opener onto Hysterics. Out comes the smoke grenade. Felipox gets another, and this is all going towards MIBR at the minute. They did manage to block the line of sight for Reduct, so that's allowed the diffuser into sight, and a kill as well from Isera. Great use of his position there to get himself one, but
good night.
Doesn't matter too much, Des, as Raps comes in, gets Falu. I think it was only a down from Isera as well, unfortunately. He didn't even secure the kill. We have a flawless round coming in for MIBR, and this is becoming very, very one-sided, unfortunately, for the Giants fans.
Stalled out a little bit there, a bit one-dimensional in the approach. They did have someone heading up to go and push benches, I think, from what I could see at the top left of the screen. The other 4 were all looking towards Garage, just kind of ready to throw their lives at getting that diffuser committed and stuck on the ground. But the big frustration is, for them no doubt, is they wanted something from MIBR. They wanted to see them move, go aggressive, make a play, take a gunfight, just find anything to give them a small edge. But as we both clocked, you had the roam coming in upstairs from Reduct, who never really got challenged or had to move. Didn't even have to get involved in the final final showdown because he was I don't want to say a non-factor, no doubt the Banshees played a part in drawing out utility and such, but he didn't have to get a single kill, everything going the way of MIBR. This is absolute dominance. MIBR are looking good, Giants very, very shaky.
Well, that's the interesting thing there, Des, because as you say, Reduc didn't even need to get involved in that fight. So that just shows that Giants didn't make it far enough through that defence, because ultimately, let's imagine, for argument's sake, that Giants go in there and get themselves 2 or 3 kills inside. We may be 3v3 at that point, or 3v2. They start to put that diffuser down. It felt like they were completely unaware of Reduct and his position, and what's he going to do? He's going to drop down, he's going to come down the yellow stairs, and they've not even had to deal with that element of the defence, which is Reduct hitting them on the flank and probably getting a couple of kills from yellow stairs for free. So Giants certainly need to make sure that they're fully aware of the entire map and picking up on those roamers and dealing with them. It gives them the advantage in the late round as well as throughout it when they've got those weight of numbers. But right now, what's happened has happened. It's 5-2 to MIBR. They are looking strong here and leaving Giants with only one opportunity if they lose here to put more points on the board.
I think the big one that a lot of teams have learnt this week is you have to full clear this map. Even when you're attacking on the downstairs, you need to have at least control of piano, and to get control of piano, you tend to need control of CEO, because guess what? Most of this map is soft. You can just see through the floors, you can see up through the ceilings. It's going to give you an absolute headache unless you've got that top floor control, and very commonly what you'll do is start on the top floor, say admin, sweep across the map, move your way down, have flank drones on the go, or if you've got a Nomad, which of course is is available, sorry, it's being brought along by Hysterics, sorry, then surely you're in a spot where you're asking the question of, well, we can clear out all those different areas. So I'm hoping we're going to see more full map clearance coming in from Giants, else these rounds are going to carry on going the same way they have so far, not very well.
So we've got an administration take coming in from Giants here. They've got themselves possession of that side of the map. They're going to try to start sweeping across, but right now, MIBR look fairly comfortable. They've got Falls in connector with the Outer. He's going to be a big piece of this defence. He's going to need to be moved. He's just going to push himself up and position himself inside a meeting, a spot that we often see used. Now, Philippox is on the roam underneath. He doesn't know that he's got a man directly above him at the minute. He could hit with the Nitro. He's just going to hold on to it for the time being, but Speakeasy is in there. Philippox is just waiting for his moment here. I don't know whether he's maybe waiting for a little bit of information to come in. I don't think he's got any drones captured at this point in time, so he won't be able to get any use from that. But as soon as he gets the call that the aggression is coming in to copy, he will no doubt have a little look. But fortunately for Giants, Des, as we've suggested, they needed to be more cautious with that clearance, and that's what they've done there. They've droned him out, they've forced him away, and that might just protect them from that vertical Nitro.
No one wants to be dealing with a C4 like that. I always refer to it. The 3K that I saw coming there from Trico, I think it was in the Nordic Championship, as players tried to burst through. It was him or Spoit, I forget. Both the kids are absolutely cracked at some point in Nordic Championship. They've had some incredible kills with C4s, one of those being the ones that will always stick in my mind. So right play, as you say, coming out from Giants. It is very fragile control though. An admin side take is always quite easy to take to begin with, but it can be quite hard to push from lately because you need to make sure you've got the copy wall opened up to try and force the player that's normally holding a shotgun to stop you pushing in through the top of Visa Stairs doorway. It can get a little bit dicey. And look at the drones, by the way. I know I'm always talking about drones, but there is one left for Giants. I hope to God they've got the information they've been looking for all round long, because right now it's going to come down to push, comes to shove, comes to kill, or that comes to C4. Philippox onto Luna's going to deny it. Hysterics in finds 1-2 kills fly the way of MIBR. Speakeasy is trying another one, but there's 3 all walking out, and there's nothing to be said for this one. MIBR take the round win again, and it is looking dominant from the LATAM side today.
I don't want to keep banging on about the same thing, Des, but Giants spotted Philippox underneath with the Mozzie. They know that Mozzie has a Nitro. They know why he's playing there. They know that that is why he's taking up that position. There's been no challenge onto him. There's been no clearance of him. And then in the last 15 seconds when they try to get the diffuser down, what happens? You can't act surprised when the Mozzie comes underneath and Nitro's the default plant spot. It's not even like he has to guess where that is. He knows exactly where that plant is going to go down. And he hits them with the Nitro and ends the round.
I think a little bit of mistiming, because after that C4 came in, within 5 seconds, Hysterics was inside a lobby, killing 1, killing 2, whatever you might want to look at. So to me, it was like a Hysterics maybe didn't get the call at the right time to say, right, push in now, we need control of lobby, or whether it was just a little bit of keenness on the side of Luna, thinking he'd spotted the chance to go for the plan. I don't know. To me, it looked like miscoordination. It's unfortunate. 6-2 to MIBR. They are rolling over the first game of the day. And looking at the schedule for both of these teams for the rest of the day, Giants are going to play Oxygen in the last game of the day. You said earlier on, that might be the deciding game, assuming Oxygen get a win against Makers or SSG. That might turn into a game like last night for Cyclops, where it's a damned if you do, well, damned if you don't, but just about keeping in if you do, and it'll be Oxygen that goes home. That's going to be even more intense, because yesterday BDS didn't really have anything to fight for, but as you said, Oxygen may well do.
Well, as you say, imagine in the position that we could be in, Des. Let's, for argument's sake, say that Oxygen don't win their games today, and they come into that last game on 1 point, Giants on 2 points. It'll be winner takes all, because if Oxygen win that and tie it up, they'll have the head-to-head effectively, assuming no other teams above them are still on 2 points. That may then complicate things a little bit further as we'd head into a mini-league with 3 teams, but it could well, as you say, come down to yet another last match play to survive, but it could be even more direct as it could, whereas Cyclops last night were playing against BDS weren't fighting for survival. That game could literally be whoever wins this survives. It could be just a fight to the death.
I'm loving it. We love it as viewers. Players, I guarantee you, absolutely detest situations like that. And again, a bit of an update on what's going on the other stream. Mute your ears now if you don't want to hear it. 3, 2, 1. Makers are 5-3 up against SSG. EUT3, greater than the current world champs. What's that all about?
I'm going to move on swiftly, Des, before NA comes for you, which I'm sure they will do once again. Before this is over.
Des and riling up NA, name a better.
Even more iconic duo. We come into the second half here of the round, and we get an opening kill, and once again it's MIBR finding the blood of the Giants. Philippox gets the kill onto Hysterics. That's the Nomad gone. The air jabs will almost certainly have been deployed by this point in the round, so utility not wasted, and as you say, Luna Metal going in there with a fantastic shot onto Philippox, and that's the shame here. We've seen some great mechanical skill out of the Giants. It's been more the strategy and approach that feels like it's let them down a little bit, Des, not dealing with some of the basics like those roamers.
It's the basics, as you say, that can have such a big impact. And in this case, finding the 1 is good. Getting that control coming in, going to help. Losing the Nomad, not super ideal. But for Falls playing upstairs, this vertical control absolutely necessary for them to make anything happen on this attack. Been stung time and time again by the vertical play. And with the grenades starting to sing in, the man pushing up to the top of the Visa, surely you thought there might be a challenge, but no, they're going to narrowly miss each other. Oh, he stepped onto the drone. If only Falls knew. Doesn't want to get too aggressive on this one, but if he did know, he could cause an absolute world of hurt. I don't think they even know that Falls is here. The fact that he's walked past so flippantly just suggests that they have no clue that he's currently playing upstairs. He's going to play massive spoiler here if they walk into him. Speakeasy almost getting taken out. Lukid brought down by another. Falls from upstairs. This is what I mean. They've completely failed to drone the man playing in meeting, and he's going to absolutely ruin their world.
That to me, Des, that last attacking round from Giants sort of sums up that map pretty well. And it came down to Giants effectively just pushing in through main door and dying, one after another. And it's a shame to see, because they're better than that. They are better than that. But they were just basically running in through that toxic smoke to die inside the main lobby.
Yeah.
And it's painful, really, to see that, because, as you said, there was just not enough attention paid to where the men were that were hurting them to deal with that. You know, you can't just run headlong into a defence to put the diffuser down.
There was a real head scratcher to me, because again, just running up the top of Visa stairs, round the corner, going and sitting on a drone in plain sight of the meeting door. And you know, on this defence, there is 100% of the time going to be someone inside a meeting. Find me around where that isn't a thing, I'll give you a tenner, because I guarantee you're not going to find one ace, is the way they'll look at it. Honestly, if you go back and dig into 5 years ago and find the clip, I'm not giving you a tenner. Something from this year, maybe even from this tournament, but it's just not a thing. For Giants, a very, very messy start. They've got a lot of work to do, I think it's fair to say, ahead of their game against Oxygen later, but we've got to see exactly how Oxygen are shaping up today. Let's go over to a break, and when we come back, our analysts are going to break that game down for you.